Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Today I'm going to be covering a new player guide to Interchange. And over this video we're going to cover the spawns, the extracts, the danger areas and the loot areas. So let's crack straight into it. So Interchange is a map that's been most recently added to the game. And it comes with a fair bit of confusion because there's so many different places you can go. As well as that it's such a big map but has so many choke points. A lot of people are finding difficulties surviving past the initial spawn phase and then getting into the map to actually get the good loot. So let's go over the spawns. Starting on the western side, in front of the whole interchange complex, you actually see that there's a fair few spawns quite condensely located up the very top to the north, as well as there's a few along the west hand side. Now from my experiences playing on Interchange, if you get those two middle spawns on the west, you're probably the closest you can to the Kibber key. So keep in mind if you're charging for that Kibber key, that's probably the fastest you're going to get there. Now at the northwest, I found that it's not too congested. However, at some times you will bump into other players, as well as the west guys trying to head up north towards Idea as well. So you need to be cognizant of that. However, I've found that if you just sprint as fast as you can into Idea, if you spawn at the northwest, you'll generally get in there before anyone else, unless you get cut off by the guy slightly to the north. Now there's only one spawn to the south. This one is outside Ollie, and I would just go straight into the car park area and up the escalator into Ollie, as this is probably the fastest way into the Ollie section. Now jumping over to the north, there's two spawns that are quite close to each other. However, I've never actually had someone spawn directly next to me. Both of these are in an ideal location to get the register key for the Idea. As well as that, it's not too bad a spawn if you want to charge for the Kibber key. From here you have the options to go into the front of Idea or the back, and I highly suggest taking either of these two. So now touching on to the east spawns. As you can see, there's a lot of dots where the spawns are located. If you spawn down the very southeast corner, I found that you have to really fight your way up to that ramp to get through and up the ramp. People can literally spawn on top of that ramp, inside the car park, and to the south of the ramp, and you're stuck in that corner and you've got to try and get through all four, either solos or squads. I suggest if you get to the top of the ramp, maybe don't stand at the top of the ramp, but you can actually fight people as they come up, as well as if you're down the bottom southeast corner, then maybe take it a little bit slower to get up. Personally, the due east spawns, you're probably better off heading north and going into the back of Idea than heading south and getting into a really bad choke point trying to get up that ramp, as you have multiple angles to try and cover. Unless you're looking for a fight, and in that case, head south and get straight into it. Now that spawns are covered, let's cover extracts. The northwest extract is quite considerably far away from the Idea, and I haven't really had any issues on Australian servers for exit campers. And even though I play a lot on American servers, I still haven't bumped into one. However, I have bumped into people whilst running there that are also trying to extract. However, just take note that if you get a leg blown off or you're getting dehydrated, it can take quite a long time to get there, so make sure you're prepared for the journey from the interchange complex. Now southeast, generally you'll be coming out of the back of Idea. If you are going out the back of Idea, when you get to the top of the ramp, you can actually jump straight off the right hand side and down, or go to the end of the ramp and then cut right into the bushes. I think this is a much safer way of getting to the extract. There's a lot more cover going that way than running just along the road. Now moving on to danger areas. It's pretty obvious that all the choke points going into the complex is pretty much your danger areas for the outside. Out the front of Idea, and particularly where the Idea register key is, the dead center entrance to the map, because generally there's a couple of people trying to get in there as well. To the south, near the front of Ollie, as well as the back ramp, is always a congestion point for the southeast. If you want to avoid combat, you can avoid these by going inside the car park and going up one of the ramps inside, or out the back of Idea generally doesn't get a lot of action. However, if you're a PvP frenzy person like me, run straight for these locations. Now moving on to the inside. Generally you're going to find most of your combat in these locations. Pretty much the main entrance points to main shopping centres like Goshen, Idea and Ollie. However, out the front of Kibber and Generic, as they're priority loot spawns for a lot of people. As well as the connecting points between, say, Ollie or Idea, where they go into the middle areas. A lot of people will get lost inside the bigger shopping centre parts, but then when they get to these ones, they know them as reference points, and they use these a lot to either exit or enter the map areas. The majority of my combat is found in these locations. So moving on to the loot areas. First we have Generic and the Kibber store. Generic is a weapon surplus store which has plenty of loot containers and gun spawns within it. and the kibble store requires 2 keys to get into. You need to complete the mechanic task Gunsmith 11 to get the second key, and the first key is located in the car park. This is planned to be changed in the future, but for now, if you get these 2 keys, you can get inside the kibble store. Once inside the store, there's plenty of gun loots and silencer loot, scopes, etc. And it's quite a high priority loot place if someone has the keys. Moving on to Goshen. In Goshen, there's plenty of Tushonka to be found. If you're after this for a task, this is the place you should be going. Now throughout Goshen, there's plenty of other loot locations scattered throughout the store. Plenty of food, Tushonka, and just task item stuff in general. And so it's worth looking around if you're after certain items. Now moving on to Idea. With Idea, there's plenty of places you can loot for cat and lion statues. You can end up leaving this place where the most I've ever had is 4 lion statues and 3 cat statues in the one run. It's definitely worth checking out these points if you're trying to make some money whilst looting through Interchange. Also inside Idea, there's the tech offices. You'll find plenty of graphics cards, CPUs, all the task items that require that are computer related, like CPU fans, and it's definitely worth checking out this spot. Now, if you're after the infamous kibble key, you want to run straight into the basement or the car park area, and it's located in this spot. Now, unless you're spawning directly west of this key or close to the Idea registered key bus, you're going to have a hard time getting there first. So unless you spawn in these 3 locations, I probably wouldn't bother going to this key unless you're after the PvP that comes with it. Now, there's 2 major medical shops within Interchange. One of them, the Emicon, requires a key, which is located on Customs. However, you can get into Mantis as well. So if you actually run out of meds whilst in Interchange, these are your locations you want to head to top up. Now moving on to Ollie. If you're after spark plugs and batteries along the back wall and to the areas towards the Interchange ramp, there's a whole battery storage area where you'll get plenty of batteries and spark plugs. Spark plugs can also be found throughout the whole of Interchange as well, so don't stress too much, you'll find them in no time. Gas analyzers. If you're after gas analyzers, there's about 5 or 6 racks where you'll find gas analyzers on it. The most I've found is about 7, and the least I've found is 2. Now to the middle of Ollie and the eastern side, I've found plenty of hoses, WD-40s, and other cables, random stuff that are required for tasks. This is probably one of the best shops in the game if you're trying to find task items. Moving on to tech shops. On the left hand side we have the ground floor, and on the right hand side the upper floor. As highlighted, these are all the tech shops where you're going to find your G phones, your graphics cards, and all your other tech items that will help you out with your tasks. As well as that, they're also good for selling, and you'll make plenty of money going to these shops. So guys, I'm trying to keep this as quick as possible, and it's a nice little overview for Interchange, particularly for new players. If you have any questions about this, please put them in below, and I'll make sure I try and get to every single one of them. Lastly, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for future content, and I'll see you next time.